They see it as one game, you know. You go 1-0 down against Burnley, all of a sudden it's kicking off. But this has been bubbling up for a couple of years now. This has been bubbling up ever since we left the bowling. People are not happy here. Everything that was promised to the fans is not happening.
People didn't really want to leave Upton Park. I think a lot of people got won over because they said, oh, we're going to have this state-of-the-art stadium.
The Olympics were coming to our borough, not even just a part of London. And so it felt like if there was something to be done with this stadium afterwards, West Ham was the natural tenant for it.
Look around this stadium. You walk down here on a match day, there's nothing West Ham about it.
Iconic wrapping, screens all the way around. They got one sort of naff screen. You can't play home games on Boxing Day because of the Westfield traffic.
They came here with the tagline, which a lot of us didn't pick up on, history begins here. Well, history doesn't begin here. It began at the Memorial Grounds, you know, 125 years ago nearly. 2 years nearly this has been going on. I don't have a massive problem with the badge per se, but the London thing, that has really got up a lot of people's nose.
They're trying to make it like West Ham Olympic or come to us, the London club.
Loads of clubs in London, Arsenal, Chelsea, Charlton, QPR. The list is endless. We're not the only club in London. The final nail in the coffin as well is the transfers. I mean, you look at it from the outside and people say to me, what are you moaning about? You've broke your transfer record twice. It's because there's more money in the Premier League. The revenues have doubled. You look in the January transfer window, for instance, right? We got rid of Sacco and Ayew. Andre Ayew. He wasn't very good for us, admittedly, but he was our top goal scorer when we sold him to a relegation rival. The next week after we sold him, we played Swansea. They beat us 4-1. Who was the best player on the pitch? Andre Ayew. Of course he was. Then they signed Jordan Hugill. We haven't even seen, I think we've seen about 10 minutes from him over here. He's not ready for this league. £9 million. Then when the January transfer window shut, we decided we wanted to sign another left back. So we signed everyone on a free. But then what did we do? We're short on centre halves. We sold Font with no chance of replacing him. When they took over from the Icelandics, they took on £100 million worth of debt. When they bid for the stadium, they said it would be clear. Basically what they did is they took the money from the banks and they lent it to West Ham themselves. So they owe themselves now £50-something million. £100 million worth of debt, earning them interest. So it's not in their interest to pay it off.
Debt is something that is part and parcel of business. Look at Manchester United. It was all debt. As long as you have the money and the revenue coming in from the club to pay the interest payments, and that gives you money to spend elsewhere, that makes kind of business sense.
We are now the 17th richest club in the world. If you can't pay off an £80 million, there's never been more money in the game ever. They're not spending it on players.
It's fan expectation against business reality, and when the two rub up, normally it doesn't mix.
In the Real West Ham Fan Action Group, they proposed a march. They put 5 points out. They asked all the Facebook groups and you know, big social media accounts to back them. So we agreed to get behind it. The points were given to the club. The club dismissed the group. It prompted them to threaten a march. The march was, you know, gathering a lot of support. At one point, I think there was muted to be 25,000 people turning up to the march, people flying over from different countries just to support the march. And then the club decided to meet. Once the march was called off, it was quite evident that there was a lot of people joining the march that had different agendas. That wasn't just supporting the West Ham Fan Action Group's 5 points.
The people from the other groups are saying, listen Andy, you've got the deal, which is the deal we want. Tell them to stick it up their arse. We'll march, and then you go back with the same deal and negotiate it. And I looked and I thought, are you for real? I said, so you're prepared to sacrifice that deal that's for our fans so that you can march just to stick your chest out and see how powerful we are?
I mean, the week before the game, it was, I mean, the club were humiliated. It looked like from a lot of the reporting around the week before was that somehow he had made a deal with a fan group connected to the ICF.
The two guys that were running were West Ham Fan Action Group, Andy and Mickey. I've had numerous conversations with them, really nice guys. You know, they obviously had a past. Everyone's got a past, and their past came up. That they were members of the Intercity firm. Pretty proud members, as a matter of fact.
You know, this is not a look you want the club to be attached to.
She had to meet the ICF to some degree because we was running the action group. So she had choice. We march or she meets our group.
Yeah.
And in our group there was 2 members of the Intercity firm.
So my emotions for the Burnley game after I see everything kicking off was, it felt a bit like the beginning and the end for West Ham. And you know, like a change is on the horizon now.
Going to London Stadium is like going to like an oversized Wetherspoons, essentially. It's kind of depressing going there. That's the feeling that fans are carrying into the stadium. On top of the fact that the team's not doing particularly well, add that into the mix. This kind of rootlessness that, like, what is a club if it isn't a place where you have a home? And this doesn't feel like a home. So who are we? What are we? What is the club?
Things were kicking off all over the stadium, you know, something was happening over there, then something was kicking off here, then something was kicking off here. I think it was everyone's emotions just coming out. Everyone's just had enough. Everyone's so many differences of opinion.
It was like a spring that was just ready to go.
It wasn't planned. It just came out that way. And the ironic thing being, one of the big things that have been an issue at the London Stadium has been security, has been the stewarding. The fact that, you know, all the old stewards have been got rid of and replaced by, you know, people that don't have any affinity to the club connection. They're all on 0 hours contracts. They're being paid nothing. And then it broke down because of the spendthrift nature of Gold and Sullivan in the way that they have put together this stadium for football and for West Ham. That's ultimately what allowed a huge group of people to stand under the box and abuse them. It's not hooliganism. It's civil disobedience. Civil disobedience has a reason. It's not unthinking. It's not just pure violence. There's a reason behind that, and there's principle behind that. And I hope that comes to the fore when people look at that.
Gold is the one who cops a lot of flack because he's on Twitter all the time, basically, whereas Sullivan has his kids on there. They're his front line.
You have to separate Gold and Sullivan and Brady. Brady is a businesswoman, a capitalist in red in tooth and claw. But she's somebody who is a numbers person. Gold and Sullivan are those things as well, but they are also, dyed-in-the-wool West Ham fans.
Sullivan especially tries to vilify West Ham fans. He went run into TalkSport and run into this and run into that when he felt like he was being threatened. I was at the Wigan game where he accused everyone of jostling him and that wasn't the case. It was a lie. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes.
Met Gold. I've gone to his house. I interviewed him. Literally grew up hungry and cold in a Jewish family outside. Literally grew up on Green Street. Usually the owners are bad people and they have opaque motives. With Gold, I found him to be a slightly different character. I think he genuinely is a West Ham fan. He seems quite thoughtful. You get the feeling that with Sullivan, it's all water off a duck's back. But with Gold, it hurts. You can't make the right business decisions that, businesses have to make. At the same time, if you're a fan, just look at Simon Jordan at Crystal Palace, what can happen to your fortune, you will lose it.
They've sold everyone a lie. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I think that's what the feeling around West Ham fans are now. They just continually enrage fans.
If they sell, who do they sell to? Who's going to be waiting in the wings that is going to be better than them, that's going to have more interest in the club? And usually, the grass isn't greener on the other side. And that's what I say to West Ham fans. If they go, in the current climate, the kind of owner we're going to get could be far, far worse. How they fix it, they've been talking about putting a fan representative on the board that might have voting rights. That would be revolutionary. I'd be more than happy with that. The main issue is the stadium. This is the issue that is going to define probably their careers. Really, the only option is for them to knock that stadium down and build another one, or remodel the inside of the stadium so that athletics is not a tenant anymore, and you introduce either closer retractable seating or safe standing. And for that to happen is either going to A, financially cripple the owners, or B, create such a political stink that we'll be talking about this and it'll be in the courts for years to come. This is a disaster of their making, and they either fix it or they'll be defined by it.
What should West Ham fans do? Forget about them. They've put us in a bad position. That's completely true, and everyone's got the right to be angry with them. But at the moment, the players that are on the pitch need our support. West Ham fans need to get behind the team. They need to make this stadium a wall of noise. We're further away from the pitch than we were at the bowling. I understand that. That just means we need to sing a little bit louder. If we scrape this season, we can gather in the summer and then we can talk about changes. But at the moment, the team needs our support and we should all get behind them.